The billion-dollar hostage fee. Oracle is currently billing TikTok nearly $1 billion a year to host a black box they are legally prohibited from opening. While the press release for the new TikTok USDS joint venture focuses on national security and American oversight, the P&L tells a story of high-margin cloud infrastructure rental. Oracle and Silver Lake didn't just buy into a social media platform. They secured a captive tenant that has nowhere else to go. The deal, finalized in January 2026, places 45% of the company in the hands of U.S. investors, but the technical architecture suggests the power hasn't moved an inch. Under the current structure, Oracle provides the hardware, while ByteDance remains the sole architect of the software. This disconnect is exactly why the project is now facing a second wave of litigation regarding the definition of a severed algorithm. The 19% math. The ownership structure of the new entity is an exercise in regulatory precision rather than a true change in control. By leaving ByteDance with exactly 19.9% ownership, the deal sits just 0.1% below the legal threshold for foreign adversary control defined in the 2024 Act. This isn't a coincidence. It is an accounting move designed to retain the economic interest of the original parent company while stripping away the visual of a Chinese board. However, the new lawsuit filed in March 2026 by the Public Integrity Project alleges that this cap is a shell game. If the underlying logic of the app still relies on ByteDance's proprietary weights and biases, the percentage of equity is an irrelevant metric. The real control exists in the operational relationship between the U.S. cloud and the Beijing code. The retraining narrative loophole. TikTok USDS claims it will retrain and update its recommendation algorithm using only U.S. user data, but any engineer in the room knows that retraining is not the same as rebuilding. Think of it like teaching a driver new roads while they are still using the same engine and steering rack. The core recommendation engine is being licensed, not owned. This distinction is the Trojan horse, at the center of the latest legal challenge. If the foundational math is still proprietary to ByteDance, then Oracle is essentially just a very expensive security guard watching a locked door, while the owner uses a back entrance. The DOJ previously warned that auditing billions of lines of evolving source code would take years, making the current promise of real-time algorithmic oversight a functional impossibility. The second wave challenge. The lawsuit filed by Tan & Reed in the D.C. Circuit represents the first major stress test for the Trump administration's enforcement of the 2024 Divestiture Act. The plaintiffs argue that by allowing a licensing agreement for the algorithm, the government has ignored the legal requirement for a qualified divestiture. The law explicitly forbids any ongoing operational relationship between the new American entity and the foreign parent. Yet, CEO Shou Chu still holds a board seat, and the revenue sharing for global advertising remains deeply integrated. This legal friction puts the entire $14 billion valuation of the U.S. joint venture at risk. If the court finds the algorithm wasn't truly severed, the app's presence in U.S. stores could be revoked as early as late 2026, rendering the Oracle deal a total write-off. The sovereign cloud illusion. The TikTok USDS saga proves that data sovereignty is often just an accounting fiction used to pacify regulators while keeping the underlying tech monopoly intact. In the current landscape, the investors like MGX and Silver Lake are betting that the political optics of the deal will outweigh the strict technical requirements of the law. They have built a structure where the P&L flows through the U.S., but the innovation still flows from China. For operators and investors, the lesson is clear. Physical data storage is no longer a proxy for data control. As this case moves through the D.C. Circuit, the real tell will be the Department of Commerce response to the June 15th evidentiary hearing. Watch for any motion to compel a full audit of the training weights. If the court demands a total separation of the recommendation engine, the Oracle-led venture will likely collapse under the weight of its own compliance costs. Subscribe for more